Jeff. Now we have Coach T. He went to the Avid Summer Institute, and he is going to get you moving mentally and physically right now. So take it away.
Appreciate the opportunity to share. Sitting there thinking, Avid, in a better word, or words, is really, to me, best practices. Okay, that's what Avid means to me, best practices. And more importantly, to our situation, what Avid is, in my opinion, now this is a short summary, is it's best practices to be used with students that start at a deficit to reach a mastery level. That's our school as a whole. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have students that start out up high and can go up high, but as a whole, we generally deal with a lot of students that begin with a deficit. If you don't believe that, check out our elementary and middle school test scores and standardized test scores to see what you start with. I know what you start with. But Avid is to take that with these best practices and move them to mastery. And believe it or not, it can be done. Better yet, it is being done, and it has been done in schools that are situations a lot worse than this one. One of the things that we don't deal with as much here as some of the schools that this works in is the language barrier. You may have a school that's 70% English as a second language, and they're taking these same at-risk kids and they're advancing them through Avid and best practices to get them to mastery level. So that's my pitch for Avid. I would recommend going. If you can go to one of the national conferences, it's fun, had a good time doing that. In your package, there should be something that says team building exercise, touch the tennis ball once. You see that? Everybody got that page? Well, we're all educators, so I'm not going to humor myself or you by reading it all to you, but I'm going to touch, first I'm going to talk about the purpose. Now, the session I went to, or the sessions I went to, was for administrators. So a lot of it is designed on building a championship team, which that fit for me as an ex-coach and everything else, but team building, consensus, mindset change, new strategies, new approaches, and how do you get there as a leader? How do you lead them in that way? So the purpose of this activity was to promote working together efficiently. We all work together in this school every day. But do we all work together in this school efficiently every day? Would be one of the questions. Third, to show how efficiency of the team leads to a better production rate, because isn't that what we're interested in? If there's a way, I don't know about you, but my mind works like this, because I've always had a scoreboard running whenever I get through, and everybody evaluates it. I don't really care whose idea it is. I don't care if it's mine. I don't care if I've got to change a little bit. If you can show me I'm going to produce a better result, then I'm all in, if it works, okay? So that's what this is about. And then 4, to show a need for strategies that can be implemented easily in practice and improved upon. So it's all about strategies. How do we get there, and is there a better way to get there? Can I implement something within my classroom, within my team, within my organization that is a different strategy, that's easy to practice, and it can show vast improvement in a short period of time? So I'm going to skip over the exercise requirements first. I'm going to ask you to read the instructions to yourself. Make sure that you read them thoroughly and you understand them. Everybody got it? So I got a tennis ball, okay? I'm going to start it somewhere. When I start it, everybody, it's not the people in the perimeter, it's just these 3 tables. Everybody's got to touch it. I'm going to start the clock, and I'm going to time how efficiently you can move the ball from all the way around and everybody touch it. Now remember the sequence that you touch it in too, because I will give you another try. Are you ready? All right, go.
We were just passing the question and answer. She'll start over here, huh?
Remember your sequence. 24 seconds, 0.71. 24 seconds. I have a feeling that you're going to be able to improve upon that performance. Cause a little confusion that there's a, I know you're gonna be able to prove one every time. All right, so everybody's read the rules. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to communicate among yourselves. And let me tell you this, what we're gonna do is, all day long, I'm keeping the best score from each class, and then Ms. Dobbins is gonna give you a sub to cover those, the groups that. But we're gonna find out, which group, PD group, ends up with the best score. Now tell me what I just did right there to this project. What did I just do? What did I just introduce? Which is what? Competition. Competition leads to an incentive, because everybody wants to do the best, I would think, naturally. I mean, the kids will tell you different sometimes, but they want to do the best. So, do y'all want to talk about it? Do you think you can do it faster? You got any ideas about doing it faster?
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, first block is smaller by But you think first block is a lot smaller, but the way guidance came, people came.
All right. Do we now, I see you, let me point out this, okay, I'm gonna give you a little help here. I see you talking collectively in small groups. Make sure that you have communication among all groups, because like at school, the math department might know what they're doing, the science department knows what they're doing, but unless the math, science, and English all work together, our students might not know what they're doing, right? So what have y'all decided collectively as 3 groups to do? Y'all got it? Y'all know how you want to do it?
Y'all wanna
Let's
get
do a
up,
large
make a circle?
Make a circle, in the order that we passed it.
Okay.
All right, a little crazy sequence over there, so y'all better make sure you
We know our order.
You,
I'm the end.
and I'm by Joey. I'm by you.
And
Look,
the-
we gotta go this way. Yeah, we gotta go this way. I'm by you.
I thought Gary
Joey
was
had
the
me.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta stay like this.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
A little more consensus there, I like that. All right, we ready?
Don't come in right there, make a smaller circle.
Like right there.
Smaller radius, makes it quicker.
Smaller radius.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you, I'll give you a third and tenth.
Watch out, so maybe teach geometry.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. About taking it.
We didn't do it like that the first time. It had
You have
be-
to-
I mean, it's all the same sequence.
Same sequence.
Same
Hey,
thing.
A lot
but
faster.
everybody-
I'll be a lot faster
All right,
than
let's
this.
move the
Everybody,
tables
we're
out.
passing.
Who's running?
No, we're not moving these
You gonna
tables.
run?
You have to use one
But
hand.
can you,
All right,
get
are we
outside
ready?
of it?
And that reduces.
Are we ready?
And y'all move up.
All right.
I'm going outside.
Thank you. Let me go outside.
I'm going outside. So
All right, time's up, here we go. Are we ready?
Oh, chairs moving.
Are we ready?
Run around the
All
outside.
right, go.
Boom.
All right, 6.23 seconds. 6.23 seconds. That was very good. That was very good. I had with the session that I was in Philadelphia, there were 57 people in the room, and they did it under 4 seconds. Now, last block, there were 2 less people than there are here today. Show what what they're competing against.
Sure?
Yeah, show it to them.
You're positive.
I'm positive.
Oh, no.
1.98. Now, I have just introduced to you what I would consider the mastery level, right? Is that not the high? Your peers were able to master this task at 1.98 seconds. I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about it and decide how you're going to master it at that same level.
Gotta get closer. And
Everybody's
I'll just touch it. And people just touch it.
That's good. I'm gonna around.
Put the hands together. It's gonna move fast. Rub it around the hands. We can actually get.
God.
Yeah, we're gonna
Hey, that's still won't be. Yeah, that still won't be 1.93. We've gotta get our hands touching. Almost touching, yeah.
This is a stupid like this.
Right there.
It has
stays the same?
Everybody get in, all right.
I think Ms. Boring should run it around.
Only one hand.
I'm just,
We gotta get, that still won't be.
that's my way of showing
All the way
compassion,
close.
see?
Yeah.
Everybody else doesn't do it that way, but
A
I.
lot closer.
Everybody have their.
There you go.
Alright, it was, okay.
But you gotta get so that you're gonna go in order, cause like
Yeah,
that's,
make sure
that's a
you're
big
in it.
cluster.
Make sure that right there is,
Okay.
All right,
you're not
come
gonna
on
be able
in,
to
come on
reach
in.
down.
Once they're touched, they can move out, and then we can spread out.
But we've got to be at 1.9.
No, but I'm just saying, it's not gonna, not everybody's gonna reach it.
Can everybody like turn sideways?
We gotta rethink this, this ain't gonna be 1.9.
Alright, you're running out of time now.
Can you remember the
Just basically
sequence?
slap everybody, just watch your head.
Yeah,
Where
like
you-
like
That's
this.
not gonna work.
Put your hand in like this, all he's gotta do is slap.
Alright, here you go, get the ball.
Alright,
Everybody's-
hands in.
I need you to go back a little bit.
Alright, I'm standing right here by the.
Here we go.
Are you ready?
Go fast, spin fast, man.
Alright, go.
Bam, go fast, 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 boom.
2.5. That's all right, but go sit back down, go sit back down.
How did they take, how did they
Too
do
much
it?
pressure on me, man.
There was a whole lot of secrets. How mathematically figure
I
out
think
whether
so,
they're
but
gonna say-
two less people makes a difference.
It's still not gonna work. We could have got
Alright,
The results are skewed.
couple of things. Now let's go back to where it says exercise requirements and see what was kind of accomplished right there. First of all, teamwork. Would you say that the improvement of 24 down to 2, you shaved off 22 seconds, were you able to do that without teamwork? No, you had to have cooperation. What about, as we started to do that activity and the competition set in, did you notice any leadership evolve? Did any people step out front, start to take over, start talking a little bit more? The coaches got involved, some leadership. So that's a natural occurrence. When you just start to work as a team, some people are Indians, some people are chiefs, some people are leaders, some people are followers. I mean, that's the way a natural design of a group is, and you need to enhance that. What about communication skills? If I hadn't pointed out, did y'all start off communicating effectively even after the first try? You did not, did you? You started to communicate group-wise versus universal, okay? So collaboration, communication is important. If we're going to accomplish the most as a team, it has to be unilateral, and everybody has to be brought into the conversation to achieve what's the best. The ability of each team to get the best from every individual. Do you think everybody in here tried their best? Seemed to be that way too, okay? So, I'm going to close it with this. That was activity. But I'm going to ask you a question. Which do you think is a better indicator of your ability as a group to master the task? Should I take the first score, the second score, the last score, or should I take a combination of all of them if I'm talking about your true mastery? Which one would you prefer me to put down for y'all's effort in here today? The last one, right? So I ask that when it comes to grading. If our objective is to reach mastery level, why do we worry about counting in the formative versus the summative thing? Because what we wanted to do was accomplish the task as a team of how to get there the fastest. And that's what you did. That was your last result, not your first result, obviously, because you were learning, right? It was a learning process. It's a learning curve. It's communication. It's all getting in line. It's learning the routine and keeping the proper sequence as we did it. But you did all of that in order, and you still got to a very high mastery level. So hats off to you. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Look forward to working with you in the future.